Hi everyone, welcome to my Shoreline studio. I'm Sybil Muschik. Behind the camera, although he's not there at the moment, is Joshua Block. He's busy adjusting something else. Okay, so today we are continuing on with our crackle paste. And I have put some color in. If you go back to the beginning of this whole series, 65A, we started with roses. This is a stencil. We did the texture plate, and this is with the homemade paste, which we'll do more of. Later on we'll do a transfer of this piece. Now notice the difference. This is my Hewlett-Packard printer, and it's much cooler. I don't know if I have to adjust the color, but anyway, it's nice and bright, and we should be able to get a good transfer from that. We'll just set that aside. Now this one, it was black and white. The roses were white, and I've added some color to it. Yellow roses are quite nice, and to show up the crackle, now Josh will have to do a close-up of this. There was a little bit of white added to the green, so that's why it's a little bit brighter. And then the crackles show up quite nicely, and then as per the trick that we discovered, that put the paint on first and then sand it, and you get these lovely little incidentals. So now, of course, you could add more color. You could put some tone in. There's a bit of tone, of course, when you've sanded it, and it brings it back to a lighter color. So it's your choice. Either continue with the color and maybe make them look more realistic, or continue with them as a graphic. Fine. Okay, so we're back to mixing. Now, with great labor and intensity, we've gotten glue out of the tacky glue. My other bottle, it's the same thing, was quite old, and I've had to add water, and like I said, it was a little labor intensive. But anyway, so it's about a tablespoonful. We didn't use glue before. Now I'm going to put some medium in, and I'm going to do just a scant tablespoon. I think a little less is called for. Because we had to add quite a bit more of the plaster of Paris. That's what we're using for the dry stuff. Now we'll start with a tablespoon and start. You don't need to mix an awful lot unless you're using a great big huge plate. So mix until you have a nice consistency, a spreadable consistency, and try and get rid of any lumps. Now lumps, of course, would add to the texture. It's all good, but you try not to have any. Okay, so this looks pretty good. Because there was all this tacky glue, I've really got to mix. Now, we're hoping that the tacky glue will allow the crackling to happen a little sooner. If you use a good quality glue that's acid-free, there shouldn't be any problem, if you're selling work. But today, all these pieces, by the way, are just our practice pieces. If I'm going to do a piece, I'm probably going to take a little bit more care with edges and so forth. Now this is just a styrofoam plate, but it's quite solid, so it should be fine. It's about 4 by 5, I guess. Just gonna, and I'm going to add a fairly thin layer here, this way. we're hoping to get crackling happen. And I'm only going to do half. Well, it looks like a little more than half, because next I want to show the difference between just plain and when you add color. When you add color, you're adding more acrylic, which means that you're adding something that is a little bit more plastic. So we're just going to use the rest of this, and I'm going to add, let's use a nice ultramarine blue. And maybe a little bit of phthalo and mix it and see what happens. Okay, this is going to take a few minutes to mix, so we'll put an interlude in here. And you can see it's becoming quite nice. We were just commenting when I was mixing this that it looks like icing for a cake. Well, I wouldn't eat it if I were you. It would be really nasty. And make sure your children don't see this and, you know, think the same thing. Okay, so here we are. Have this lovely color. And so the consistency didn't change a lot. I added maybe half a teaspoon of each color. But we'll see. These are lovely little experiments you can try at home. And we'll try and keep the same thickness. So I have to level it quite a bit. Okay, so clean your area. It is glue after all, so, and yourself. Okay. So let that dry. Now, I guess we better just leave it alone. I'm always wanting to, you know, throw stuff at it and impress things. Should we impress something?
You just said you weren't going.
We weren't going to, yes, but it's so tempting. Okay, let's try. Now the thing is, if it's not dry yet and you're putting something into it, you can't lift it up. So a leaf is fair game because, you know, you can just wash it off after because it will probably ruin it. But in the meantime, you get this great impression. And then this one, we'll just do a partial. Now look for the most details. Here the stem is, oh, we gotta have the hole. Okay. So we'll just leave that. Now, this will probably have to be shown at the end of the video because we'll spend a few hours galloping about, finding things to photograph. And we'll set that aside. So far, so good. Now we'll go back to our regular crackle paste. I'm rapidly running out of little containers. I have all these containers, things like this, where it has a little bit of paint, because I'm very frugal. and they're almost all used up, so we're going to have to do something more creative. We'll just use one of our usual plates. Okay, so we're going to just... This is the Golden Crackle paste. It's already got all the ingredients to make a crackle. It's probably got a little bit of the plaster in it, plus medium, plus whatever else they put in. Red is always nice. And you don't need a lot. Now, of course, because it's more of white, you're going to have a pinker tone. And we'll just mix it up here. Isn't that lovely? That does look really edible. Okay, that should be enough for here. Again, we'll do a half and half. Okay. I've just got parchment paper on top of my light table to protect it because it will wipe really well. It doesn't like to stick with tape, unfortunately, so it keeps coming off. But, you know, whatever works to keep your work surface, you know, manageable. So about half. Then we'll do the other half in green so that it's a nice contrast. Again, a thin layer. I'm hoping this will crackle. This one is the one that takes 4 days, so just gonna smooth this out. But if we're lucky, it will crackle a little bit sooner than that. But you can see when you add color, it really works well. So you don't always have to paint this kind of thing. No, we want to go to this one. This is the One Step Crackle by Deco Art. Now, the chemicals in this are meant to react together. So if we actually add another element here, like the paint, it may not crackle at all. This is, you know, all experimental, so. You could almost brush this on because it's so fluid. And I'll try not to mix it in the middle because then we'll get a neutral. So you'd have a odd looking gray there, which we don't necessarily want, you know, unless you're going for a neutral. The other term is mud. So I'm trying for about the same thickness, not exactly easy because this one is much more fluid. But it does seem to take to the color well. And this one, I think we're just going to do some marks. Get my trusty feather out. And we're just going to do some interesting marks. Maybe one organic and one linear. Play tic-tac-toe or something. Yeah. Let's see here, maybe a few little marks in each one. Wiggly lines maybe on the side. Oops, there's a big glob of paint here. And or crackle medium. So I hate to waste stuff, so what we're going to do is a mixture. And then we'll try impressing some pattern. So I'm just going to sort of butter this piece. With blue. This is my homemade crackle paste. I'll just use it up. So it'll be a bit thicker. And we might not be able to post this one until the next one, but we're probably doing something totally different. But I'll just recall. Now, if you're interested in this series, don't forget to start back at 65A, and then this one is 65C, so that you see the whole progression. And of course, do give it a try. And the whole point of these videos is to give you a sort of a treasure trunk of possibilities and skills. Most artists are multimedia artists, but not everybody. Some people, for example, like only oil or only watercolor. But I think it's kind of fun to try different stuff. And sometimes when you're in a hurry, some of these ways of working are much faster than, say, oil painting or, you know, the thoughtfulness of a watercolor painting. And it's very satisfying just to create a little bit of artwork, and it's therapeutic. While you're doing this, you can't be thinking of your troubles and, you know, worrying about what people have said or done or what you've had to do or whatever. It's the whole reason I'm doing all these free tutorials. All right, so a little bit of the pink. Just keep that on one side. And like a lot of my videos, I'm busy combining things, you know, often we'll be doing a transfer or, you know, working with a new medium. So take notes and refer back. They're all listed. We've had a lot of fun with a lot of these tutorials. And we've done a lot of field trips to supplement with our interludes. So you get to learn a little bit about our area as well. Not to mention that Josh has written a lot of music for it, and nice original music. You don't get that very often. Okay, well, this is pretty well gone. So we'll have to mix mud. That's all right. Not too muddy. If you have a color that is exactly opposite and you mix them, this is going back to our color theory days, then you will get a beautiful gray. If it's slightly off, it will go more towards a brown. So you can see that these two colors are actually pretty close to being opposite on the color wheel, and you can see it's become quite a nice gray, even though it's we have more of the pink color. Pink is not really a good explanation of what this color is. Trying to smooth it out a little bit. Okay, so now we haven't wasted anything and we have stuff we can do. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and impress a pattern. Let's do it this way. So if we muck it up and just push it on there. It's okay if it overlaps. Remember, cropping and overlapping are interesting. Now, if we're lucky, it will create an impression without mucking it up too much. Oh, yes. So we'll do the same with this, and then not sure how to control it, but we'll see. Now, sometimes when you do this, you'll have to be really careful, like I was, and maybe get to the point where the medium is almost drying so that it's not so tacky anymore. Then it'll pull up nice. And then when you clean it, please don't wash it down the sink. Use a pail or something. Let it settle out for a day, and then get rid of the hard stuff that collects at the bottom. Okay, if we do this carefully, we'll get a nice impression. All right. Very good. Okay, we're going to take another break, and then the next part that we do is our transfer. So we're at the transfer stage. So I'm just going to put some Prussian blue on the 8x10 gel plate. Not a lot. So we'll brayer it out. And okay, here's our rose crackle piece. I'm going to place it. And I like to use burn because it's got a soft touch if you want. And we'll see if it transferred. Looks pretty good. We'll do an interlude because this needs to dry. So I'm going to use a deeper yellow. This is my nice Azo yellow deep. I was going to read you I think it's Dutch. I'm rolling out a smooth layer so that it's very consistent. Just check your brayer, make sure it's turning, and then get her on there. This is just the pickup layer. Make it nice and even. And over she goes. Oops, we had some water in there. Okay. And use your Beren if you have one. If it doesn't all pick up, then you just need to put the medium on. It's always a way to rescue this kind of thing. But the medium takes time to dry. And I'm hoping looks good so far. Got most of it. And we got the crackle. Yes, the whole point. Now, maybe I would have liked a little bit more detail in here, but you can go back in with other media. So there you have it. So you can take a picture of your crackle paste piece, run it through your laser printer, which is the one you need, or take it to your local Walmart or wherever they do prints. And then try a transfer. And look at the lovely crackles you get. I used yellow copy paper, so it's not the best paper for picking things up. But, you know, the yellow would have picked up on the roses in any case. So, okay, so there you have it. Everything about crackle paste and how to work with it, whether it's color or even transfers. 3 different types that we've been using. There's a multitude of them out there. I wouldn't spend a lot of money trying them. Those basic ones are probably all work the way you want. And crackling is quite beautiful, so give it a shot, as I said, and have fun with it, especially when you start adding color and, you know, texture and so forth. And we'll post all the different little experiments at the end. Hopefully they'll have dried somewhat. We probably won't get very much crackling, and maybe I'll post it in the next video, even though we're doing something totally different. So check us out for next time, because I've got some exciting stuff happening in the future. So take care of your families, take care of yourself, and be kind to one another. Bye for now.